Hello and welcome back to Walnut Lodge. After my little trip to London, the potager is in desperate need of some work, so I have to cut the grass first and do the edging, so I'm going to do that right now. These are the potato plants I put in probably about 2 months ago now. There was a video about them and they coming along nicely. I've earthed them up 3 times and I can see a couple of them are already in flower. Next to the potatoes are the tomato plants, so I put some of them in yesterday. Later on today I've got to prick out the rest of the seedlings and grow them on for another week, and they'll go in another bed here. Next to the tomatoes are more potatoes. They're doing nicely. They're not as advanced. They're about a month less than the original potatoes in. These are seeds I've put in. The one in the middle are radishes, and there's some salad on the right hand side. These ones haven't come up yet, so I'm going to give them a few more days and then, oh, there are a few here. That was, what did I put in there? Mixed leaves, mixed salad leaves. And then we've got the garlic doing well. And we've got some onions next to that. There's 2 spare beds that need weeding. One of them is going to go in with more tomatoes, this one here on the left. And the one on the right, I've got some chilli plants waiting to go in. But as you can see, this one is just completely overgrown with the weeds. But I'll get on with that over the next day or 2. On the 3 squash beds, I've got courgettes. I put 3 courgettes in there. They're green ones this end, and yellow ones the other end. The yellow ones are doing really well. The green ones, one of them's been attacked and it's not there anymore, so I'll have to sow another one. In the middle we've got melons. So I've got 24 melon plants. That's probably too small for this area, but I couldn't. I grew them and I couldn't not plant them out. So I might have to thin out take a couple too. This is my 3 sisters' bed. I've already planted corn and beans. The corn will grow upright and the beans will spiral around the corn and use it as a climbing frame essentially. And I've got some pumpkins which will act as ground cover to go in between the rows of corn and beans. This is our soft fruit bed. I think I said the other day that a couple of our bushes, they seem to have died over winter. So there's one over there, one here and one here. Fortunately there are lots of cuttings. I took lots of cuttings last year and they've all taken, so I'll replace them later on in the year. We've got strawberries in here as well, and raspberries over the far side. So most of this is weeded. I've got to come back and do a bit more weeding on here, and then the next day or so I've got to put up the fruit cage to stop the birds coming down, because these currants are flowering already. Next to the fruit cage is our vines. They're doing well. They've already got fruit, flowers and fruit growing on them, so we'll show some nice grapes later on in the year. And the other side we've got some blackberries. They're all in flower, so we should get fruit in the next 4 weeks. And these are our kiwis that we put in, and I noticed the other day that there are some flowers, so that's where the fruit will be, which is good. They're really pretty plants with their sort of hairy red stems. if you're wondering what the mess is outside, just outside of the potager, we had a mini digger in for some other jobs here, and while we were doing it we thought, well, we dig a trench from the potager which has got water and electricity, and so we dug a trench and put pipes in right the way down to our fire pit. So that's why it's still a mess. We just haven't got around to tidying that up. Yesterday we put the fence back up. It's only a temporary fence until this winter. That's why it's not particularly accurate. It's not in a straight line or anything. Yeah, so now we've got water and electricity down to our fire pit. Oh, the bees in the corner are going crazy this morning. Oh, what's happening? The swarm it's really high up. It's got to be about 30 foot up. So the problem we've got is, how do we get to it? I think I'm going to have to go up there and cut a branch. But the owners of the property have been here recently. So we're just going to ask for permission, basically. But our second hive is all ready. So fingers crossed. So we're on a wild bee chase at the moment. So I'm up in the tree and by the time it's taken us to get the ladder here, you can probably hear them, but they swarm back again. So they've swarmed. Dan is over there where our bees are, and he's just said to me they're back in the hive. So I don't really know what's going on, but I'll come back down again. Nice view of the potager up here though. So we've come back to where the bees are, and they're bearding right down the bottom of the original hive. They all seem to have gone in. Now we're due to put a super on. We were due to do it yesterday, but we've just run out of time. So we're going to do that now, and we'll put the queen excluder, which is this orange thing, and basically that stops allows the worker bees to come up, but not the queen. The only thing I can think of at the moment is that they because we've been feeding them every week, they are looking for, they've increased in size so much they're looking for somewhere new to live. So that's what we're doing right now. We've taken advice from a Facebook group we belong to regarding the bees, and basically what we've done, we suited up and we looked at the original hive, and there are queen cups in the original hive. Sorry, we didn't get much of this on film because we had to act really quickly. And the queen cups meant that a queen is being created, and so we moved the queen that we bought about a month ago into the second hive with about half the bees and half the frames, populated the gaps with new frames with beeswax on, and we moved the original queen into the new hive, and the bees will inject royal jelly into the queen cells and create a new queen for the original hive. So we now have 2 hives. So all that climbing up the tree earlier was worth it. That's about it for this episode. So there wasn't much much practical advice today, but it's been a bit of a frantic week. So I will see you on the next video next week.